I'm trying something new today, and hopefully, well, actually, I don't know what I'm hoping for. I just know that I'm just gonna get going, um, and just talk to you guys like this. Although right now I'm recording this video live, so nothing edited, nothing fabricated. I'm just gonna talk to you guys as if I'm just talking to the collective. So, for those who don't know who I am, my name is Vicky. I'm a shaman based in New York City. But I decided recently that I want to make longer videos communicating with a larger audience, although I don't even know how much more of audience I'm going to reach. But I make content on TikTok, sometimes talking about collective messages or just like giving guidance messages, life tips, or whatever it is. But I have always been gravitated towards making longer videos. But I was like, for whatever reason, making longer videos was always like a hassle for me. Like the prep is different, the mentality is different. Like I have to set up this professional camera, and then like there's this editing process, and I was having issues with like my storage space on my laptop. By the way, this laptop is old, so it's like that's too much work. Let me just use a live studio, that way I don't have to deal with any of that, right? And then plus I was like, if the message is good, people are going to watch it anyway, so like whatever, I'm not even going to worry about the editing, maybe later on, but I'm just going to get started and give you guys a message and make this into like a conversation type of situation rather than like something that's like heavily orchestrated like a professional podcast situation, because at the end of the day I just want to give you guys a message. So the way this is gonna work is, hopefully I can stay committed to this, but every month I'm going to kind of tap in, and sometimes maybe it'll be every week or whatever, but I will be tapping into like the collective energy and give you a message. And obviously the message is collective and it's pretty general. Although it's not going to be generic, I'm going to be as particular and specific as possible. But I'm going to give a channeled guidance message basically. Again, it's not a personal, you can make it personal, maybe it's going to be super resonating for you personally, right? And that's sort of the point, because a lot of people actually go through the same things in the collective, just in different ways. And yeah, I'm just going to put the message out here, and especially because I feel like things are really different now, like timeline wise, and just now hopefully the people who are watching this are people, obviously, I always believe that you are always going to watch whatever that you feel called to watch, right? Sometimes you don't even know why you're watching something, but you feel called to it, so you're watching it. Maybe you just resonate with my energy, maybe you're just curious, you click on it. Sometimes you don't even know what you're watching, but like your heart is speaking to you in some way. So for different reasons we're here. And again, it's a collective message, so I don't expect it to resonate with every single person in the population, the global population, but I'm going to sort of like intentionally put it out there that may this video reach the people who are going to find this video super beneficial, right? And if you guys are wanting to check out my website about like my actual professional work that I do, like services that I do, how it can help you like personally, then you are welcome to check out my website. I'll put everything in the description below. Again, this is a live video, so I'm recording this live, so everything is raw right now. So excuse me in advance if this is not perfect. But yeah, um July is a tough month. Tough in the sense that a lot of, okay, I'm gonna talk to you like I'm talking to a person, right? Like as in like as opposed to like a group. Um this is a time where you should have you should be figuring some things out. Like I feel so right now is not the time for clarity. If anything, I think that the clarity you thought that you had, and there we go, the sirens again. That's another thing that you guys are gonna have to excuse me for. Frequent sirens. I live in New York, and the sirens every 5 minutes, and it's really annoying. But in a way, I feel like that's also very symbolic, because I was just gonna say like this is not the time to hold on to like the sense of clarity or the structure that you're looking for, because every time you think that you have that, you're going to soon realize, oh, maybe that's not it. Maybe like you're going to be maybe further confused the more fixated you are on a certain structure or stability, especially when that stability is something that you're looking for outside of yourself. So it could be like a status or like a career or like whatever it is. it's going to like make you feel confused. And now this is not to say that your life itself is going to be unstable, but you know how you could have the things that are supposedly, going to provide someone with clarity or like structure. Like you could have all of that and still feel miserable on the inside, or confused, or like unfulfilled, right? So I always say, what you have going on the outside, like in your actual life, in terms of material, like that really is irrelevant to how you feel on the inside. So that's what we're talking about here. Okay. um so right now it's a time for us to kind of swim through these different energies of, um I don't even want to say confusion, because just because nothing is certain, it shouldn't always, it doesn't, or at least it shouldn't always immediately be assumed for confusion, because sometimes we're just figuring it out, right? We're just figuring it out. And it's really about looking back, like having the ability to look back to your past choices, your past memories, and being able to get into a deep introspection phase. Like, what worked for me before that no longer works for me now? What did my pattern before, like what did my past year's history show me about who I am as a person? And does that resonate with me? Like, how is my life different than my life before? And whether you're looking at the recent past choices or events, or like long term, like way before, this is time for you to kind of configure yourself into the present moment, like making yourself realize, okay, like the only reality that is real, that exists, that matters, that's relevant, is what you have in front of you. So whatever that you might have experienced before, whatever that used to work for you before, it doesn't have to. Okay. Again, we're not talking about the stability that exists, like physically, materially, financially. We're not talking about that. We're talking about how you feel. Okay. um and also, how I'm gonna do this is that, um, I am going to also pull cards. And by the way, making it very clear, I'm not a card reader. So, I mean, I can read cards, but I'm not like someone, like I don't pull information just from the cards. I will use it as a tool for collective messages. Like I use this for like, sometimes I go on TikTok and do live readings. So like this is how I connect. I use this as a tool to deliver messages, but I'm not reading from the cards. The cards do not tell the information themselves. I am the primary source of the information, and then just using this to kind of give messages. Um, I'm just clarifying that because I don't want people to think that I'm a card reader. Like, for example, maybe you're coming in a one-on-one and you expect me to read cards for you. I don't use tools in a private session. Anyway, so um, as I was already talking about it, right? Because I was already in it. Like, this is yeah, this is July. This is our time to continue to swim through this, because I just feel like a lot of things are not going to feel clear. Okay. And I it's kind of fitting because this is Cancer season, and everyone has different experiences with Cancer season, obviously. But I know, like for me personally, so I'm a Leo rising, so Cancer season specifically always hits my 12th house, and 12th house deals with like the unconscious and spirituality, and like just the unseen realm. So like like Cancer season usually isn't like the best season for me. It usually puts me into like a lot of like it just puts a fog over me. So like personally, right? Personally, I don't expect myself to be like stable. I mean, I'm stable, but I'm saying like it just I don't have like that stability, like the spiritually, like feeling very like rooted. Like I don't have that, and I don't try to have that, because I have now learned my own pattern that I don't trust anything that I even think. Because I mean, there's a difference, right? You can appreciate, you can embrace your own pattern, and you can learn about what you're experiencing, but doesn't mean that you immediately like, you know like trust and hold on to it, because because sometimes your own feelings will deceive you, right? What I'm trying to say is that, using myself as an example, you have to learn how to like work with the energy that's hitting you. So I just feel like collectively right now, um this is your time to kind of like ride the waves. Like this is a swimming period, whether you're a good swimmer or not. Because you could be a good swimmer and still drown, because that's the thing about, that is the thing about the waters of I'm trying to like wait for the sirens to pass because I don't know how it's gonna sound aftermath, but really don't want that to sound bad when when I'm watching this. I don't want that to like interrupt my session. What was I saying? Even though you might be a good swimmer, it doesn't mean that you always can predict how the waves are going to hit you, right? Like that's the thing about spirituality, and like nature or like your life, is that you could feel like you're good at something. You could feel like, oh, like you confident in yourself, but that doesn't mean that you don't get hit with like the strikes, right? You could be a good swimmer, you could even be a good diver and still drown and die, right? And I'm not saying you're gonna die from this period of whatever, but I am saying is that you being something is one thing, but you still have to be open to like the unpredictability and the instability that life brings you, because the way we experience life isn't about the external circumstances, but it's also how you respond and how you react, and our feelings are unpredictable, you know. And the more in tune you are with yourself, the more you're going to realize that. Like, I know a lot of people are not really like a feeling based people. A lot of people are just I'm also aware like people are different. Like some people are not really emotionally driven, but ultimately, right, like my invitation for you is that I want you to start experiencing life in a different way than just achieving things. I always encourage my clients even to like learn how to feel your feelings as opposed to intellectualizing everything. You know what I mean? Like, oh, so anyways, I work with different types of clients, but a lot of the times I find myself reminding people like, you don't have to feel good just because life is good, right? It's really about learning how to work with the energy, um, even though you might not have control over it. It's about learning how to surrender to the unknown. Um, So I feel like right now, things are like being established for you. Okay. So things are being built for you. But you know how sometimes we're in the building phase, but we don't know that because we're going through it. So this is what I was talking about the fog that you might feel right now at this time. So no matter how good the things might be on the outside, you might feel like there is like a wall between you and your life that you can't really seem to fully immerse yourself into it. And we're talking about the reality, okay? We're not talking about like have just one good day, or like maybe you're on vacation and you're feeling good. We're not talking about that. We're talking about like how you are experiencing your actual reality, right? So again, like it's showing that so basically you're on the right track. Okay, this is a time to not, it's not harvest, but more like you're in the building phase. You know what you're doing. There is a direction ahead of you. So that is signifying that, but at the same time, um you're not necessarily going to feel that connection to what is being built for you. Again, sometimes it's like there's a disconnect in the way that like you're doing something, and the way you're experiencing it. And this is this message is a little different from um like you being misaligned. It's more like you don't even know what is growing within you. You know, sometimes we're going through something and we're growing through it, we're transitioning, we're in the transitional phase, but because we're so wrapped up in like how we're feeling, that we're not aware of how much we're building. Does that make sense? So it's more like everything that you feel matters type of situation. This also feels like the more you try to like force your energy into something, the more you're going to like feel um resistance. So, in a way, this is your time to kind of build, I guess, that relationship with those feelings within, rather than trying to find stability outside of yourself and hold on to that to feel secure. So, the security you're looking for, right? And security can mean different things. Like it could be like your relationship with money, or like financial situation, like work, career. Th- in a way, I feel like it's sort of it's asking you to put that down, put those expectations down, because all of that cycle, because I in the very beginning of this video I talked about how um like we're wrapping it up, right? Like we're like you're reflecting on your past patterns. Like this is the reason why there's a fog over your head right now is because you are still going through like this ending period, or rather you got to wrap it up. And the more you try to like make sense of what you're experiencing, the more you're going to feel resistance. The more you're going to feel like, oh, it's not working, it's not coming to me, it's not manifesting. Okay, that's why I said this. But hold on, but that process alone is a lot of like introspection, right? Like that's a lot of processing. But I want you to really develop the relationship with the processing feelings rather than like, okay, so where is my answer now? Where is a final deal? Where is the outcome? You know, because the more you fixate on that, the more you're going to feel lost, the more you're going to feel like it's not working out, the more it's like a illusion of the end of the tunnel. But all of this, right, is, if you really think about it, if you shift your perspective, it is it is part of your building, right? Because you are expanding your consciousness. I want you to think about this. Every time you think, that is you working with your consciousness, okay? And when you think beyond your current beliefs or limiting beliefs, if you challenge yourself to think outside of your box or your current knowingness, that is you attempting to expand your consciousness, okay? So right now, instead of trying to look for the answer in absolute terms, this is your time to question and ride the waves and learning how to swim, and questioning your ability to swim, but also, you know, accepting everything in humility that you really don't have to know shit. Okay. um the confusion is going to it's going to end. Okay, this although I already said I don't really want to label this confusion, because just because there is no like structure, it doesn't mean you should be confused. Like, it's again, it's more learning how to ride the waves. Okay. um Again, I love to look like use the analogy of the ocean, right? You being a good swimmer or whatever doesn't really make you immune to any unpredictable things, right? So it's you knowing how to just ride the waves and just learning how to just be there. Okay. And knowing you're going to be okay regardless, because there's nothing in your external world that is bad. But you do need to be um, you do need to release like the need to control, and it's again, it's asking you to like look at yourself in a different way. Okay, it's asking you to look beneath the awareness of the current ego. And when I say ego, by the way, I never mean like as a bad thing. There's a lot of misconception about what the ego is, but for me, the way I use the word ego for the most part, and otherwise I would specify it, but it's an identity, right? And we all need an ego to survive. Like all humans have ego. We should have an ego because it's our identity. Without the ego, we're like, the ego is the identity, and as humans, we are an identity. We are something. We're somebody. So, but when the ego becomes like a blockage, is that when you're only confining yourself to a specific title or the identity, that you're not challenging yourself enough to go beyond that. Okay, that's the only time that ego becomes problematic. Um, but because the ego will try to like, it will try to peg you to a certain level, when in reality, like when you're really on a spiritual journey, you're supposed to always go above and beyond. Like you're always supposed to be challenging yourself and questioning everything, like be skeptical about who you even are. You know, like that's the point of spiritual journey, right? um so hold on a second. I also feel like like recently you had to let go of a lot of, like, this is like this was a healing phase for you. Not even like most recently only, but like for many weeks, or it could have been months, or for quite some time now, that this has been your healing journey. And you might not have even been aware of that. You might not even have been aware of that you have been healing, that you have been getting rid of what doesn't work. You have been figuring out what doesn't work. Okay, there's also something that you are putting your emotional investment into something. It could be anything. Again, this is like a collective message. It could be applied in different ways to you, and depending on who you are. But there was also like something that you were emotionally investing in something, but then it's like you realize it's not it. So it's showing about like you're retracting. Okay, like I feel like you kind of, you were putting in something, you were investing because your emotions were involved in it, but you now realize nope. Like it's showing you retracting, you revoking access, or like you kind of like taking yourself back. So which is part of the healing journey. And maybe that itself could have been quite impactful. I almost said traumatic, but it's not always traumatic. It could be, okay? Again, it all matters. What matters is how you're experiencing this situation, okay? Um, but I want you to remember, like, your heart, okay, your passion, it doesn't have to be confined to a specific thing, not even a specific person, not even a specific situation. If your heart is true, okay, that passion that you have, it's still there, okay? So it's really about retracting from things that are not serving you, that are not feeding you, that are not fueling you and inspiring you, and knowing the power of your heart and knowing that you can create that again, you can experience it again, you can find things to execute that passion, okay? So I kind of feel like this is your time to meet yourself in a different way, meeting different aspects of yourself, because that's the thing, like the thing about growing and expansion is that it's all about meeting yourself in different ways and not limiting yourself to a specific person or specific situation. um, this is your time to recreate what it means to find passion for yourself, because this is the thing, what makes life worthwhile is like knowing our passions, right? Like, where does your heart feel called to? Where is your heart at? What are you being drawn to, right? And don't, you better not be sitting here to say, oh, I don't know what I'm inspired by, I don't know what I'm good at, I don't. Well, then start exploring yourself. That's exactly my point, okay? Don't give me those excuses, because what you make of your life, okay, so if you don't have any things that you're inspired by, you don't know what to do with yourself, then what are we like? Then don't do it, that don't then live like that, okay? But if you know that you want to explore more, you want to learn about yourself, then you got to use that willpower to do that. Okay? Where's the execution? Where's the action? Because things are not going to come to you. Okay? The way you discover yourself, the way you practice how what it means to put your passion out there is by you doing something. You have to execute, you have to take action, you have to be proactive, you have to care. Okay? So the time you spend complaining, use that time to go back and actually question yourself. Why? What are you not doing then? Okay. Again, stop putting your energy into things that don't work. Okay. You should already, like, you have already learned that some things are no longer worth it, or some things, like, you already feel drained. So you do have to really give yourself the closure you need when it comes to, like, no longer pouring your emotions into something that doesn't work. Okay. That is important. Um, and also at the same time, celebrate the aspects of yourself and of your life that matter still. Okay, just because one thing didn't work out doesn't mean that your entire life is doomed. Okay, that the people have to really like think about how. Okay, so most people um make one thing the entirety of their life, which that's fine, right? But you have to know that when that thing doesn't work out, that still does not mean your actual potential for your life is over. Okay? It's about perspectives. Objectively, that is just not true. So be very careful, okay, about how, like, it's just because one thing that you thought was yours isn't working out, you're retracting now, you're revoking access, you're healing from that, like you're now figuring things out again, does not mean your life itself is over. Again, it's really about rediscovering yourself in a different way, rediscovering what it means to have a life filled with passion. um, just because, if anything, right, um, use that as your chance to learn about yourself more. And you can also allow yourself to have more clarity, okay? People sometimes think that when they're confused about a situation, when they're wondering about why something did not work, like they internalize it and make it about, oh, what am I not doing enough? What is it about me that failed this? Okay? People think that, which is good to an extent, because it's, as long as you're making this into like your self accountability, like, that's great. But when it's not productive is when you're making that failure, that one aspect of failure, things that didn't work out, your entire blame. So don't blame yourself if one thing did not go well, no matter how much you invested, no matter how much you cared. Okay, especially pertaining to a relationship, or okay, because I feel like it's something about, like, something like a personal relationship type of situation. It doesn't have to be romantic. When I say relationship, I always mean like just relationship. Any personal exchange you share with someone, that's a relationship. Okay. So there's something about like you gaining clarity over like relationship, or even in the way that you, like, even in the general sense of relationships, the way you pour yourself into relationships, there's some clarity you should have gained. Okay. um just know that the way for you to find fulfillment in life, you have to you have to know how you love, what you need. Okay. So, for example, like I don't know if you know tarot language, but the Ten of Cups energy, which is like this emotional fulfillment, like this dream come true, like the wishes coming true, basically, that isn't always confined to one singular situation. Okay. I want you to know that, like, whatever you desire, the desires of your heart, right? Like the ideal situation you see for yourself, right? That should not be confined to like a one single person or a situation, because what you are allowed to have and what you deserve to have, what you are worthy of, has nothing to do with other people. That means that you need to allow yourself to have the clarity. If this person is not part of the fulfillment, if they're not fueling you, feeding you, inspiring you, then they're clearly not it, right? And who's going to admit that? Who's going to admit that? You got to admit that to yourself. Okay. You got to give yourself the clarity that you're looking for if you want to really move forward with your life. Okay. So again, this is about taking accountability you know, instead of using that as a way to, I don't know, like when something doesn't work out, a lot of people tend to resort to like manipulation. They try to find excuses as to why something didn't work out. So it's showing a little like you're a little stuck in the past energy, and I feel like you're trying to revive something from the past here. But I want you to know that if you do that, ultimately you're playing yourself only. Okay. Sometimes the signs are clear. Sometimes the way that you could ensue more clarity is going forward, not trying to make something off of this thing that didn't work. Okay. But I know it's human nature to want to keep digging at something that didn't work, because it's like, what, I mean, I invested so much energy, why is it not working? So like people often internalize, again, make it about themselves, and they always try to this is why people go back to old relationships, because they're trying to like make sense of why it didn't work. Okay. On top of the fact that they already invested a lot, so there's like an investment return factor. Um so if you're indecisive right now, or like, if you're not happy, because again, it's talking about you not um it's talking about you not being able to like fully admit yet. Maybe it is part of the confusion you're holding, because it's like, so it's how, okay, so every message that I've given so far in this video, it kind of like adds up together. It's like a puzzle pieces coming together. So this lack of clarity period that you're feeling, okay, like a lack of emotional satisfaction, emotional clarity, emotional stability that you're feeling, I feel like it's because you continue to kind of like, you're indecisive about moving forward, basically, and you're like questioning what it means to really like find happiness in life. You're trying to look at your past relationships, or like your past patterns, when in reality it is your job to hold on to the clarity that you have about who you are as a person, and use that to find your other passions for going forward. Okay. But because there is no clear direction right now, you're only working with what you have, which is like whatever didn't work out, what's currently on your mind, like this person or this emotional matters. So there is like a lack of moving on here. But I'm letting you know, the only person who can break that cycle, or rather be decisive about your next journey, is you. Okay. I feel like the more you dig at this, the more you're gonna get caught up in the same pattern. Okay. This is your time to be to embrace this period of renewal. Let these waters flow into your system. Let these waters wash you up. Like literally, like this is your time to renew yourself. But if you can't embrace this, then you can't be renewed. If you're still, because people think that I want to feel good, I want to change, I want to be renewed, but then it's like they're still actively doing the same things that like belong to their past pattern, and there is no renewal. Okay. The way you experience your life, it's not the objective things that are happening to you, but It's also what you're choosing for yourself. It's also what you're deciding for yourself. It's also what you're committing. It's how much you're able to discipline yourself to really stick the to yourself and your own values, rather than like making it about, going back to the past or trying to understand what all happened. You know what I mean? So if this is supposed to be your month or time for renewal, then commit to that. Okay, be more disciplined with yourself, and don't let other people or relationships, especially things that like make you feel like a failure, do not make you do not let that be the reason why you continue to stay indecisive about yourself and your next journey forward. You understand? So throughout this month, I want you to continue to just ride through the waves. We're still early. As the time I'm recording this is July 9th. So we still have like, like 20 more days left, like 2 more weeks or 2.5 weeks more. But yeah, again, this is your time to question what is it that you can't let go of. Okay. Like this is your time to clear. I want you to build a relationship with your own thoughts right now, okay? And continue to question yourself, is this thought serving me? Okay? What am I waiting for? Why is it that I can't move on? Like I want you to be really honest. And of course, if you would like to have a private conversation or you receive guidance and divination, then please feel free to book a one-on-one with me. But right now, there's something that you're trying to bring with you. Okay. I think in your heart knows that it's draining, but your mind is still, because we're creatures of habit. So I think that there's a part of you that is still wanting this to come with you. So you're stringing something along with you right now. You might think it's the other thing, it's the other way around. Okay. You might think that, oh well, no, this person is stringing me along. Oh no, this thing is stringing me along. So it must be meant for me or whatever. No, no, no. It's you not being decisive enough. You not having boundaries enough. You not being solid enough in your own decisions. Okay. Always remember, you are the one responsible over your own life decisions and choices. So don't make this about other people. Make this about you being decisive and solid and rooted in what you know you need. Okay. So I'm going to wrap this video up here. And um, if there is any point in time that I feel like I need to give more messages, and I will come on here and do it. Make sure to subscribe, you guys. And we'll see. We'll play around with the quality going, over time. But for now, let's see how these live video things work out. But again, I'll put all the information in my description below about maybe how to find me on social media or like how to find my website. But for now, enjoy the rest of the month. Again, ride through the waves, but make sure you're going forward, not backwards. Bye.